So welcome to this session on the IHI patient pool. My name is Rui and I'll be moderating today's session. I'm joined by my colleague Angelica, who will be presenting the patient pool and the application process. The session is being recorded and both the recording and slides will be available on IHI's website afterwards. You can use the chat button on the right button of your screen should you have any questions during the session. I would like now to give the virtual stage to my colleague Angelica. Angelica, the floor is yours.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Angelica Valente. I am a scientific officer at IHI, and since the end of last year, I also became a patient officer at my institute. Thank you to be here today. We will be So as my colleague Rui said, that the session is recorded and you will find it on our website. Please use the chat to ask a question. I will address all of them at the end of the session. Today, there will be a general introduction by our Executive Director to the Innovative Health Initiative. Then I will go straight to the patient engagement and the IHI patient pool. I will briefly describe how does IHI works, and then I will talk about the IHI patient call of expression of interest, specifically the purpose, eligibility criteria, compulsory and additional information, the application selection and procedure, reimbursement, transparency, rules of engagement, and the data protection.
My name is Hugh Laverty, and I'm the Executive Director here at the Innovative Health Initiative. The Innovative Health Initiative is a public-private partnership between the European Union on one hand and 5 different European industry associations on the other. They are CASIR, FPM, MedTech Europe, Europa Bio, and Vaccines Europe. We are at heart a funding agency, and we implement our program through the projects that we fund. And we identify our projects through an open and competitive call process. And the aims and the goals of the projects that we fund are really focused on trying to overcome the challenges and the bottlenecks that are preventing innovations from entering the market and being used in healthcare, ultimately for the benefit of patients. Now, we exist as a public-private partnership because it is recognized that to overcome these challenges, we need to facilitate collaboration, because a single entity, no matter how big, does not have the capacity or the resources to be able to address these challenges by themselves. Therefore, we at IHI act as a neutral platform where we try to bring together the different stakeholders required. So in our projects, you will find public partners, academics, researchers. You will find private members, companies large and small, but also you will find healthcare organizations, healthcare professionals, and regulatory bodies. In many of our projects, a very important constituency are patients and carers, and they can have a vital role in our project. But we actually want to go beyond engaging with patients in our projects and try to reflect the patient experience within the work that we do as an office. And this is why we established the patient pool under IMI 2, and that is why today we have reopened the patient pool to renew it with new patients, with new experiences, in order to help and support the work that we do within IHI. Now, I'm going to leave you now in the capable hands of Angelica, and I'm sure she's going to explain what IHI is in more detail, the work that we do, and how we utilize the patients that are involved in our patient pool. I hope you find the webinar useful and interesting and will feel motivated to apply. And I look forward to working with you in the future. So thank you.
So, as I said, I will now go on ahead with the patient engagement, and I will point it out the importance of having patient engagement in our activities, because the aims of IHI is to help keep European Union citizens in a good health and decrease the disease burden for patients, caregivers, and healthcare professionals. The patient or caregiver's participation in IHI activities is important to bring a unique perspective based on their real life experience with the disease, supporting and engaging early and meaningful patient engagement in IHI to achieve its ambitious objectives. For this reason, we are launching the call for expression of interest in order to select patient or caregivers with a strong interest in fostering patient-centered innovation to become members of our IHI patient pool. I will introduce briefly how does IHI works to give you an overview of the main processes where we will have patient engagement. So first of all, from the scientific idea to the call for the proposal. In this process, there are several actors involved. We have the European Commission, industry or contributing partners, or even stakeholders in health community that can propose some scientific ideas to become topic. These scientific ideas are internally discussed specifically by the Scientific Innovation Panel, who then decide which scientific idea could become a topic. Thereafter, IHI office will be in charge of launching the call for proposal for each specific topic. And during this process, if needed, members of the IHI patient pool who have the relevant knowledge and experience may be invited to contribute to the development of certain topics with their perspective. Then, once the call is launched, then there is a period of a proposal submission. What happened during this period? Several partners, private or contributing partners, or even academia, SMEs, healthcare professional, regulators, patient organization, or HTA bodies, they work together to write proposals to satisfy the objective described in the call that has been launched by IHI. By the call deadline, a certain number of proposals will be submitted, and we will start the evaluation of the scientific proposal. And then during this process, IHI set up a panel of experts who will comment and evaluate the proposal, deciding on a certain ranking list. Based on the budget available, one or more projects will get funded and they will sign the grant agreement with the starting of the project. Then, during this process, again, if there will be the need of a patient or caregiver perspective for the evaluation of the proposal, IHI may select the most suitable patient or caregiver from the members of the IHI patient pool to act as a patient expert. So she will join the expert, the scientific expert, and they will be selected based on their knowledge and experience and relevance to the topic. Once the project starts, there is a period of project we call the project implementation, during which we monitor the progress of the project. A certain time, for example, we see the document that they have produced, the submission of some deliverables, of the achievement of milestone. And more or less at the midterm of the project implementation, we call the project review meeting, during which we analyzed the progress of the project from the moment the project started until the day of the meeting. IHI set up a panel of independent scientific experts to run this review, and if needed, also by patient experts who are again selected from the members of the IHI patient pool. Then at the end of the project, IHI organize a closeout meeting, our meeting where the consortium highlights the project achievements and the most impactful results. During the project review, as I said, the patient will be, the members of the IHI pool will be screened, and then the most suitable person will become a patient expert to join the project review. While for the closeout meeting, all the members of the patient pool will be invited to attend this meeting. And it will be a good occasion for them to interact, to networking with people present in the consortium, to get updated on the most important results that may be relevant to their disease or condition. Regarding the call for expression of interest, as I said before, the objective is to select patient caregivers to become member of the IHI patient pool, to support the IHI activities with their perspective and experience. So they will be invited to participate, as I mentioned before, to project closeout meeting, but not only, also to scientific events, webinar or trainings, which could be organized by IHI alone or jointly with the IHI members or other European Union bodies, initiatives. This would be also a good way to contribute to the discussion, so to have the patient perspective on board in the discussion. And when needed, IHI may select members of the IHI patient pool based on their knowledge and experience and invite them to act as a patient expert, as I briefly mentioned during the introduction of the IHI, how we work, to participate in panel or workshop and provide advice on scientific ideas, for example, or also on scientific portfolio strategies or annual scientific priorities, or maybe invited to evaluate scientific proposal or project review. A member of the IHI patient pool who is invited to participate in an IHI activities is always free to decide whether to accept the invitation. Regarding the eligibility criteria, the applicant must be either a patient with a chronic and/or lifelong illness or condition, or a caregiver, so a family member or informal carer of a patient with a chronic and/or lifelong illness or condition. The applicant must be resident in one of the member states of the European Union or in third countries that are associated to the Horizon Europe. The applicant must also possess a working knowledge of English. An upper intermediate level or B2 will be necessary to be eligible for this application. In the call for expression of interest, you will see compulsory information that are needed. This is important to identify the most suitable profile to run specific activities within IHI, as I mentioned before. Therefore, the applicant must indicate which of the following disease area is most relevant to them. And then at the end, you will see there will be a specific box where they can provide much more information on the disease. For example, if the applicant will select diabetes, in this box, they can specify if it's type 1 diabetes or type 2, or a rare disease to give more information on the specific rare disease. Or maybe also on cancer, they can select cancer, and then in the relevant box, they can provide much more information, which type of cancer is it prostate cancer, breast cancer, skin cancer, and so on. Or in case your disease or condition is not captured there, there is always the possibility to select other and then give much more details in the relevant box. You will see also the additional information. So we formulated 8 questions. The purpose is to obtain detailed information on the knowledge and experience of the members of the IHI pool. This will enable IHI to identify the people with the most suitable profile when a patient or caregiver's contribution to IHI activities is needed, as I mentioned before. So the 8th question, the applicant are invited to state in the application form, wherever relevant, is not mandatory, if they possess knowledge and experience, for example, in using telemedicine application or tools, mobile medical apps, or any other digital remote wearable technologies in the medical healthcare, or in case they have been involved in reporting in exercise like reporting patient experience, patient preference or outcome, or if they have been members or they are members of a patient organization, if they have knowledge or experience of patient engagement or patient involvement activities, or they have been participating in health or patient-centric meetings, or in case also if in the past they have been invited to participate in evaluating proposal for IMI, reviewing project, or closeout meeting or webinar organized by IMI. It's also important to mention, in case you have knowledge or experience of any research innovation activities and or public-private partnership, or you have knowledge of the health industries, for example, the pharmaceutical, the medical technology, biotechnology, digital health, or vaccine industries. Or if you have knowledge of any ethics or regulatory process, or you have been invited in working, interacting with different health stakeholders. You will also have the box for the motivation letter at the end of this 8th question. Again, as this part is not mandatory, but would be important in case you would like to fill in the motivation letter to point it out your motivation in being involved in IHI activity as a member of the pool, of the patient pool, and to complement more some of the answer that you have provided. It's important to mention that the application will not be disqualified if the additional information section is incomplete, because these are 8 questions, but it's not mandatory to reply to any of them, but it's important to reply to this additional information if you have or not have the knowledge. Regarding the reimbursement and the transparency of the process, members of the IHI patient pool who are invited to participate in the previous IHI activities that I mentioned will be entitled to reimbursement and allowance for certain activities. For example, if a member is invited to act as a patient expert for the evaluation of proposal or project review, they will have the same contract as all the other scientific experts involved in the panel to evaluate or review the project. And they will be allowed to a fixed fee of €450 per working day, plus the reimbursement of travel, accommodation, and substances expenses in case of in-person meetings, because the meetings could be in person or virtually. They will be requested to register in the European Commission Register of Experts, because they will be treated as any other scientific expert. And because of this, and for transparency reason, the name of the patient expert will be published on the General Horizon Europe funding and tender portal, as for the other scientific expert. In case they are invited as speakers, the members of the IHI pool are invited as speakers in a person event, they will have reimbursement of travel, accommodation, and other expenses in line with the applicable IHI-JU rules. Allowance may be increased for patients with disability in case a patient requires an accompanying person when the traveling is needed. IHI in this case will also pay the travel expenses and the accommodation and daily allowances to the accompanying person, only for the in-person event. Regarding the rules of engagement, once invited to contribute to a specific task of activity, patient expert should, before starting the work, should sign a declaration of conflict of interest, act in their personal capacity for short-term assignment role on an occasional basis, with no guarantee of a minimum assignment of tasks and activities and the exact period during the year where we will need the patient engagement in our activities. They also have to respect the confidentiality of the process and all related documents. Tasks and activities assigned may be, as I said before, carried out in person, in IHI premises, for example, or where the event will take place, or remotely, generally using electronic communication tools like WebEx and Teams. Important to mention is that the pool will remain active until the 31st December 2026, subject to possible renewal by the IHI-JU. The application and the selection procedure. The patient caregivers who would like to be part of the IHI-JU patient pool are invited to submit their expression of interest via our portal, and here is the link to apply. The deadline is the 8th of June, 5 o'clock Brussels time. The expression of interest must be completed in English, and only applications submitted via the online application form will be accepted, and not by email, for example. All applicants will be requested in the application form to certify that the information contained in their application is correct and complete. To facilitate the process, because this online application form is not really friendly, you will not have the possibility to work on it in different days because the data will not be saved. We create a Word version of the application form. So what you would do in practicality? You have to download and use this Word version to fill in the relevant information offline. So you can save this document in your computer and work at your time. Once ready, you can copy and paste each section in the online application form prior to the formal submission. But please do not submit the Word version by email because the application will be disqualified. The application who meet the eligibility criteria and have provided in their application the compulsory information and not the additional one, which means the 8th question, they will be part of the IHI patient pool. The applicant will also be asked to indicate in their application if they were included in the IMI patient pool, which was launched in 2019 under the IMI-JU. Regarding the data protection, the processing and use of your personal data will be performed in compliance with the EU regulation of the 2018 on the protection of natural person with regards to the processing of personal data by the Union institution, bodies, offices and agencies, and on the free movement of such data. I put now some important links to remember and to use. The first two are related to the call materials, and I would suggest to please carefully read these materials. Then you will see the link to apply to the application, so the online application form. And again, to facilitate the application, you can use the Word document. Here is the link where you can download the Word version. Please ensure that the eligibility criteria are met and all compulsory information requested in the call are provided. Ensure that all additional information requested in the call are provided whenever possible. This is again is important to strengthen this point, is to allow the identification. So you will be eligible, although you will not have all the additional information fill in, but this will allow the IHI to identify the most suitable profile when patient caregivers' contribution to IHI activities is needed. And also important, for any further information, do not hesitate to contact the patient functional mailbox. This is a screenshot of the first page of the Word document. Just to familiarize with the process, you will see now few screenshots of the Word document and the application form. This is the first page of the application form. And here you can see, to start the application, you have to click on the icon here, and it will open the first, you will see in front of you 4 different tabs. The first will be on the personal details with all the information regarding yourself. The second one, but the Word document is structured in the same way. So again, please start with the Word document, and when you finish, you move to the online application, because this information and the submission needs to be done at the same moment without having the possibility to save your data. The second tab of the online application form is the language skills, and the English is mandatory because it's part of the eligibility criteria. You can also add any other languages that you have. Then there is the profile. For sake of space, there is no, I didn't have the possibility to have the screenshot of the 8 different questions. You will see now only 5, but in the profile, in the real online application form, you will see all the 8 questions. It's mandatory to reply yes or not, to just indicate if you possess the knowledge and experience or you do not possess them. But once you reply yes, you will also have the possibility to explain in few lines how you have acquired this knowledge and or experience. Again, these are additional information, but extremely important to select the most suitable member for IHI activities when it's needed. The last tab, the fourth and the last tab, is the declaration, where you will see your name, the name of the applicant, the date of your submission, and then you have to tick 2 boxes, one for the declaration and the other one to confirm that the information presented are complete and correct, and you give your consent to processing your personal data according to our privacy statement. Then there is the button to apply. You can click here to submit the application. Again, only applications submitted via the online application form will be accepted. So use the chat below to ask a question. We will address now shortly. Thank you for your attention, and do not hesitate to contact us via the patient email address.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Angelica. And we have a few questions already on the chat. The first question is regarding patients which are resident in the UK. Are they eligible to take part?
There is a link. The eligibility criteria refers to patients that are resident in the member state or a third or associated country. There is a link where you can find a complete list of these third countries with some specification. Because if a third country does not sign the association, does not really complete the association to the Horizon Europe, then the people resident in that country will not be eligible for this application. And for the UK, the process is not really clear. At the moment, is not complete. We know that they started the association process, but is not complete. So I would suggest to patient resident in the UK to still do the application, because everything can change in a few weeks from now, and we don't know yet. While in this document, you will see also that there will be countries like Switzerland, for example, that they did not even start the process to associate to Horizon Europe. Therefore, I will discourage this patient to apply, because probably they will not be eligible and the situation will not change in the near future.
That's great. Thank you very much, Angelica. And now we have a question about the number of patients. So how many patients will be integrated this year in the IHI patient pool?
We do not have a fixed number of patients. Everybody will be included if they have the compulsory information, if they provided compulsory information, so to the disease or the condition, and actually the eligibility criteria are satisfied. So these are the only two things important to be part of the member of the patient pool. It's important to say that not of the members, as you may imagine, will be invited to act as an expert. This will depend on the need IHI will have to have the patient engagement and patient perspective in their activities, and also on the knowledge and experience of the member of the pool. That's why the 8th question in the third tab of the online application form is extremely important to capture the most important information of the members.
That's great. Thank you, Angelica. And now we have a question about the specific diseases that are asked during the application form. So are there any specific diseases that are not targeted during the application?
No, we try to capture as much as possible, but I also included other, because in case we didn't include or the patient does not see his disease or condition captured there, there is also the possibility to select other. And as I explained before, they can, in the box just below, they can specify their disease or condition.
That's very clear. And for all the applicants, when can they expect to get an answer regarding their application?
I hope the pool will be announced. The launching of the pool will be done at the beginning of July.
Okay, so beginning of July. And just remind us about the deadline for applications.
The deadline is the 8th of June. We will have a few weeks to screen all the application, the application online form, and then we will announce the launching, and we will go back to the applicant by the beginning of July.
Okay, great. And question from Rosanna. It's for patients with disability pensions that doesn't allow them to work. How does this contract made with patient experts might affect them?
This actually, the contract is just related to activities performed. Of course, we can investigate better with our legals for the contract, because I'm not expert on the contract of the expert, but they will be actually treated like any other scientific expert. So they will have a contract specifically for the task they will implement. But I can come back to Rosanna later after discussing internally with our legal that is involved for the contract of the expert, just to not give some incorrect information here.
Thank you, Angelica. And also, what is the email, the functional email, in case people have questions about?
Is the patient? It's the one presented. We can go back to show you.
Or the following?
Yes, is here, the patient at ihi.europa.eu.
So if you have any specific questions, we invite you to send us an email to this functional email box.
Indeed, I will invite Rosanna to please send your specific question to the patient IHI to go back to this.
Great. So, and do you have any training plan for potentially interested applicants to join the pool?
Training will, once the pool will be set up, I have in mind to have some training specifically for the members of the IHI pool. So once the pool will start to function, but not for potential applicant actually.
Okay, and so only after the pool is set up that?
Yes.
Okay. And can there be more than one condition chosen? I guess is regarding this question from John Saunders. I think it's regarding the eligibility criteria and all the application.
Yes, actually is the compulsory information. In case you have comorbidity, I would suggest to select the disease that maybe you can discuss with your medical doctor, which is the disease that affects you more, and then you can see in the box you can describe the comorbidity, but you will not have a possibility to select more than one disease. actually. But in the box just below the list of the disease, you will have enough space to describe your situation.
Okay, great.
I would like to come back to the training question. The training that I'm planned to do, not in immediate future. I need first to set up the pool and to see, but maybe something will be done by the end of 2023 or by the beginning of 2024. I have in mind to have some training to make it clear for the patient to get familiar with the patient engagement and patient involvement, because there are two different things. Regarding the patient engagement, in IHI, we have the patient engagement in IHI refers more to the engagement within a project management perspective, because we are a funding agency, while the patient engagement at the project level, it's more to bring on board the perspective of the patient to decide, for example, of methodologies on development of some specific methods to test the treatment or to develop drugs. So there are two different concepts, while patient involvement is more having a patient involved in clinical trial to test some medication. So this aspect will be covered during our training to make everybody, so all the members of the pool, be aware and be knowledgeable of this aspect that are not so straightforward for many of us.
And we are still waiting for more questions from the audience. And maybe while you wait, think would like to also to underline the importance when you're submitting that the platform doesn't allow you to save. So first, we recommend to do your application on the Word document that Angelica prepared, and then copying and pasting the information on the platform itself and submit. Just allow enough time because the deadline is on the 8th of June. Don't leave it to last minute to submit your application.
Yes, please do not hesitate to come back to me via the patient email address in case you have some doubts.
And we have a question from Alessandro, and he's asking, do we need to provide evidence for our chronic condition, or is just a self-declaration?
No, you don't have to provide any documentation, but at the end there is a declaration that you have to tick the box. If you remember, at the last, I will quickly go to that. So here there is, I agree with the above declaration, and this is a box where the two boxes here, you have to tick both of them. Once is that you agree with the above declaration, that all the information that you provided are correct and complete. And the other one is to consent the processing of your personal data. So this is for us is enough. And indeed, if you do not tick both boxes, the system will not allow you to apply the application, to click on the button apply and submit your application. So this is the only thing we request.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much, Angelica. And if there's no other questions from the audience, and sorry, we do have another question from Seppo. It's regarding the age limit. Is there any age limit for a patient member?
No, absolutely.
Everyone is welcome.
Yes, I would encourage you to read the call text carefully, because there you will see a lot of answer to your doubt, because we try to be as much as possible precise, giving all the possible information. And wherever you don't see the limitation, indeed the age is not mentioned there, that means there is no age limit for a patient member.
And there's any age, so there's no age requirement. Okay. So everyone, thank you very much for attending today's session. As there's no more questions from the audience, we'll close the webinar now. Thank you very much, Angelica, for your presentation.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions, please come to us on our functional email box, the patients@ihi.europa.eu. Both the recording and the slides will be available later on our website. And thank you very much for attending. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for your attention.